All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry, don't worry. Zeus reigns supreme. We're back. Oh, okay. So obviously, I struck a chord this morning. Good morning, everyone. We're back. Don't worry. We are back. The show, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I guess I won the appeal. I won the appeal, ladies and gentlemen. So what we'll do is we'll get it going again. Hold on one second. Big Zeus. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and put a W's in the chat. W's in the chat for Big Zeus. All right. I mean, these people. I mean, why do you not like what I do? Why doesn't MAGA like what Big Zeus does? Did we hurt some feelings this morning, ladies and gentlemen? Well, guess what? Uh, It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, we're gonna continue to get the truth out there. Q Dog, please come on up. How you doing, brother?
Oh, we back at it.
Yeah, we
We
whack
back.
again. I don't care.
We don't care. One Mac
No.
don't stop no show.
I like what you said. One man. But please continue. I mean, it was weird. I went live this morning, and then they said we're gonna report you live for fake engagement. So I guess there's a rumor out there. Oh, Zeus, he has bots coming in to the live, and so that's one reason. And then now they say harassment and bullying. And I said, well, when did it become harassment and bullying to just simply tell the truth, right?
Oh, like I said, before we got dropped,
Yeah,
so they utilize it to their own agenda and what benefits them.
soft. Yeah,
Real salt, and that's the reason why they want to report you, report me, or whatever. We don't care. One maggot don't stop no show.
that is correct. WQ dog, let's
So
go. Hit him with it.
it's like I said, they don't want to acknowledge that they. And when I was talking about watching Amistad, and it's crazy at this day of time. You know, when we watched it before, we watched it as a movie, this, that, and the other. But as current events are going on, I was just furious just watching how they treated our ancestors.
Yeah.
You know, to the point of when they brought them over on the ships, and because their numbers were not where they're supposed to be, they just threw our ancestors overboard.
Right.
They call us when we are fed up savages
Mm.
and just angry for no reason.
Yeah.
But
They-
they ancestors were savages.
yeah.
What they did. This is the reason why they don't want current day studies to be given to the children, because they don't want to get exposed of what really
Yeah.
happened.
They
Those are
don't
really
want to be educated. They don't like the fact that but people like you and I are educated and we can comprehend, what's happening. They don't like that, Q dog, because what it means is they won't be able to control you like he has control over his supporters.
I t-
Would you ever send people your money and then do everything that they say do, like go to the Capitol on January 6th? It's like, wait a second, didn't your mom and your daddy teach you not to do stuff like that?
that's the point that I'm trying to figure out,
Yeah,
where they want to demonize, and they want to attack Joe Biden for pardoning, but they don't want to say anything about what Trump did about pardoning those J6s that still continue to commit crimes after they were pardoned. Help me understand that.
yeah,
Make it make sense. See, this is the things that they did over time, over a period of time, over and over and over again. And they don't want to recognize or acknowledge it, because they know that stain is so deep that you couldn't clean it with Clorox.
mm-hmm,
These people, they got some judgment coming. And when I say judgment,
yeah,
it ain't for us. Yeah, we gonna judge you for how you act and react and so forth
yeah,
against people that are different than you. But you got a serious judgment coming from a higher being,
yep,
and you don't want to reach that level. When you've already reached that level,
yeah,
but you haven't got to that pinnacle where your last day on this earth, you got to explain yourself.
That's why we do
God,
it. That's why I
you
do
know,
what I do.
I was just following. You know what I thought was right. No, you knew it was wrong. You knew it was darn wrong.
Mm.
But
They
you
know.
kept doing what I told you not to do. So therefore, I don't acknowledge you.
Bingo. And do you have a problem with these Trump supporters having to spend the rest of their existence in hell, Q Dog?
It's required.
There you go. It's required.
They already required.
Yeah.
They got they just like in prison when they give you a number. They take away your name. They give you a number.
Yeah.
They already got their numbers stamped and sealed.
So their names aren't going to be in the Lamb's Book of Life after all. After all, see this is why they get mad at me on the show. The show is the warning, right? This is your opportunity to understand judgment, MAGA. And if you were to actually listen to what we're talking about, you would take heed to what we're saying to you on the show. You would say, you know what, I don't want to be in the lake of fire for real, and you would change course.
You know, there's a story a long time ago where a man was on a deserted island, so to speak, and he was waiting to be rescued. So a boat came. They said, "Come on, we'll take you to shore. No, I'm gonna wait on God. I'm gonna wait on God." Okay, no problem. Helicopter came. Come on, climb up the ladder so we can fly you to safety. We can fly you to civilization. No, I'm gonna wait on God. I'm gonna wait on God. A plane comes. Tell us where to land so we can land and we can fly you back to safety. No, I'm gonna wait on God. I'm gonna wait on God. So years have passed. The man finally passes away, and when he gets to the pearly gates, he asks God, why did you not come save me? He said, well, I sent the boat.
Yep.
I sent the helicopter.
Yep.
And I sent the plane. And you turned them all away. MAGA, you want to utilize this show to think what God is trying to say to you. We're not up here every day just to be blowing smoke and blowing hot air.
No.
We're not.
No.
We're trying to tell you something that is on the right path for you to get right. Now, if you don't get right, well, you're gonna be at the pearly gate explaining to God, well, God, why didn't you didn't come help us?
Yeah.
Why did we have to starve? Why did we have to take 2 and 3 jobs just to survive?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I sent some folks to try to give you a higher education. Well,
Yeah.
you decided not to take that education. So, hey, what do you want me to do?
Bingo. And then it's going to go bow the knee and go straight to hell. WQ Dog. All right, brother, I got to move it on. But as always, I really do appreciate standing shoulder to shoulder with you and giving it to these Trump supporters, because we're not going to let them get away with what they're doing. All right.
Definitely, brother. You know, right. God puts us on earth for a reason.
Amen.
And we try to educate as much as we can. We can only do it one by one.
All right. Fair enough, ladies and gentlemen. WQ Dog, we're going to move it along. If you don't get right, yes, you will be left. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Who do we have? Okay. I see some people out there that are promoting Donald Trump. Stevie J, are you basically asking me to come up here and say something? Stevie J, just send me a guest request. This won't take long, all right? And it might be a little painful. Oh, I see your alter ego. You're here. That's funny. Stevie J, the people have spoken. They said that you need to get into the box. And then Stevie J, here's the thing. And if you don't do it, then you know what's about to happen. Get him, little hawk. Stevie J, the only way out is through the box. Do not come up into my chat and pollute it with lies and Russian rhetoric and then sit here and think we're going to let you do that. There's a lot of people who are genuinely listening to this broadcast, and they're picking up information that's being shared out, and they're going, okay, we can use this to go ahead and have change and impact in the areas that they're in. So we don't need you up here with your big lies and your nonsense. We get it. You know how to repeat everything your dear leader tells you to, but unfortunately, you don't know how to save your soul, right? Little Hawk. Oh liberals are for abortion. Why don't you come up here, Ohio? I would love to know what that means. Liberals are for abortion. What does that mean to you? Ohio, I sent you a guest request. Could you please come up here and tell us how you know how to, on one hand, love kids but hate the mother? I don't know how you do that, Ohio. But yeah, the only way out is through the box. All right. I'm not going to sit here and allow Trump supporters to continue to just come in here and make up stuff. All right. And tiny tank top Tim Tom, as much as I would love to just bring you up and send you straight to hell, honestly, you need to knock it off because you're acting up. And if this is the behavior, you're supposed to lead by example, tiny tank top Tim Tom. What you're doing every day is you're proving to us that you know how to be a worse person every single day, despite having a lot of opportunities to be a better person. All right. And so what we don't want to do is we don't want to encourage you to continue to go down the wrong direction. All right. But seriously, seek help. W Zeus. MAGA is a burrito. He's childish. Okay, what did you say? Okay, hold on. I got my skivvies on. Turn on the bathroom exhaust fan, lake of fire. Oh, cyanide, yummy. What does that mean? What does that mean, cyanide? Come on up here. And if you don't want to come up here, do you know what that means? You're done. Let me bring up this next guest. Hopefully they can come up. User, good morning. How are you? User, are you there? User. User, whatever your name is, going once, going twice. What is this? Is that is why women do not want to get married and have children anymore. Okay. All right, user. I'm assuming you accidentally sent me a guest request. Oops. Oops. I took myself out of the box, ladies and gentlemen. You see how that works? I tell you, this TikTok thing is glitching like you wouldn't believe. All right, let's go on to the next panelist, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to the next panelist. Let's bring up my sister Kabira. How are you doing, Kabira? How are you doing? Good morning. How are you? Kabira, are you there? Uh-oh. I think she's doing something with the dog. All right, we'll bring up Nutty. I think I heard her talking to her dog. Kabira, we heard you talking to the dog. All right. Good morning, Nutty. Welcome. How are you doing, bro?
Doing well, thank you. Doing well. So I'm just gonna keep doing this because today's show shows the importance of liking and sharing the live.
Mm,
Because I say it often, Zeus,
yeah.
the devil work hard, but we work harder.
Amen.
So you all continue to like, share the live, share it out, because no weapon formed against me. Yes, I'm bringing biblical text into this shall prosper. These MAGA demons, they're on a tear trying to get the message stopped. We are not going to let that happen. They can take this platform down, they can take other platforms down, but we will keep coming back. We will keep coming back. So I want to talk about, waste, fraud, and abuse, if that's okay.
Go for it.
So, so I think we can all agree. I think we can all agree that we don't want a wasteful government. We don't want government that's full of fraud, and we don't want our tax-paying dollars to be abused. I think we can agree on that, can we not?
We can agree.
So, MAGA, there's a common denominator that you say you have with us. I say you say because you don't say anything about the $45 million that it's going to cost the American taxpayer, just to celebrate this orange tangerine for this military parade, making it seem like we are a dictator society. My mind is blown. That fictitious parade that they're putting on that just so happens to coincide with Mussolini's birthday. Like
Oh,
you want to
really?
get
It coincides with Mussolini's birthday.
well, I call your president Mussolini.
Ha! Wow.
So yeah, it's his birthday, and so to have over I think the number was 7 to 10,000 service members I think, or it may have been more than that. Service members to march in this parade, to have tanks, to have Apache helicopters. Like, what is this? What force are we trying to show? We are the United States of America. We have the strongest military on earth. Everyone knows that. But just because we have the biggest, the largest military on earth doesn't make us the world leader. Like, I'm Zeus. I'm confused.
Well, it's just to me another example of the fact that it never really was about waste, fraud, and abuse, Nutty. As far as I'm concerned, if you were to think to yourself, if you say, if you ask a Trump supporter, would you want your taxes increased, or would you rather work with Democrats? Which one do you think they would choose?
Tax increase.
Wow. What about would you be okay with a president that commits crimes, or would you choose hanging out with the Democrats? Which one would they choose?
The criminal.
Wow, wow. What about our national debt? Would you rather have $5 trillion in national debt, or would rather work with a Democrat? What would they say?
Oh, bring on the debt.
See, this is what I'm saying. W Nutty.
So Zeus, you bring that up. You bring up an interesting point because this big, beautiful bill, right? It's going to add. It's going to add 20. I can't even fathom this number.
Yeah.
$20 trillion over the next decade,
Yep.
over the next 10 years. That is more. I want to put it into context.
Yeah.
Let's put everything into context. From the beginning of our existence as the United States of America, from George Washington from George Washington to Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah, my man. Yeah.
That's how many presidents? That's what, 44
Yeah.
presidents? From George Washington to Obama, our national debt combined has not equaled what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Over 200 years. And this man alone, you fiscal conservatives, as you call yourselves, tiny tank top, or just 4X,
Yeah. 4X.
because you only voted for Trump, according to you, because he wasn't a Democrat. Because
Look at
he
this.
wasn't a Democrat.
Bretta came here, Nutty. He seeks us for counsel.
Bretta, you want the smoke today, brother?
I just want to know where. Good morning, by the
Good
way.
morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Trump is doing a great job. Um,
He couldn't even say that with a straight face.
He
well,
sort
no,
he
I laughed
certainly
at your
could.
laughing. I laughed at your
No,
laughing.
you didn't, because if you thought that, then you would really be laughing. You're not really laughing. You're just trying to cover up the pain. I get it.
Cover up the pain.
Can I ask you something before you go? Did you get that $5,000 Doge check yet?
The dividend check, I never believed it was coming. I always believed it was inflationary. That's not what I voted for, Zeus. That wasn't on the campaign trail, man.
What did you vote for then?
I voted for the tariffs. I voted for the mass deportation. I voted for the energy policies.
Okay, can we stop? Can we stop right there? Can we stop right there? Can we delve into this?
Sure.
You voted for the tariffs, so you voted to tax yourself and spend more money to take more money out of your pocket. That's a smart move, brother.
All right, so let me ask
That's
you a
a smart
follow-up
move.
question. If they are passed down to the consumer, can we see them quantified in a recent CPI chart or a PPI chart or any intermediary chart for input?
Well, at a
Brother,
certain point,
no.
at a certain
Bre-
point, but they front loaded all of these products, right? In the wake of these tariffs, so we still need to see the data. But the data is there. You can't say it doesn't exist.
Okay, it doesn't exist because I don't see it. So
Okay.
you're telling me that they bought a supply? Hold
Well,
on, Zeus. They
Well,
bought a
you didn't see
supply.
the ports emptied? Come
No, I didn't
on,
see the
come
ports.
on, bro.
Hold
Come
on.
on. You didn't see the impact at the ports. That's
Please.
common sense.
Zeus, we don't see the ports enter. We actually see the recent GDP estimate showing imports negatively affecting our estimate because of how much we bought from other nations. I
Hey,
don't know
brother.
what you're talking about.
Hey, brother.
Oh, that's The devil talk. That's devil
But
talk. That's
Nah,
good
but
stuff
come
you
but
on,
got.
dude, Zeus.
but
That's
brother,
devil talk.
respectfully,
That's
I'm
crazy.
gonna say this: the
Devil
fact that you
talk
can get
instead
up
of
here,
responding. My bad,
brother,
Antifa. Go ahead.
the fact that you can get up here and you can toss a word salad doesn't make you educated on the subject
It's
matter.
not a word salad.
Well,
I said
speaking
It
of
is a
salads,
word
speaking
salad
of
because
salads,
because
it is a salad. Go nutty, and then
here's the
I'll help
bottom
him
line.
understand.
Here's the bottom line. Tariffs are going to cost U.S. citizens more money. It's going to take more money out of your pocket. You voted to take more money out of your own pocket. Congratulations.
All right, go ahead, Zeus.
Beretta, can I read this to you? And then I need you to use the intellect you have and explain what it means. Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices through the chain. Throughout the chain, Walmart made billions of dollars last year for far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should, as is said, eat the tariff and
Yep,
not charge
yep.
valued customers anything. I'll be watching, and so will your customers. So when he says eat the tariffs,
Right.
what does that mean in your world?
That means negotiate the tariff with the exporter. They can lower their price to accommodate for the tariff so it doesn't get passed on to the consumer. Because the exporter should do for the importer what the importer will do for the customer to keep and retain it. Now let me ask you
So
something.
wait. Let's
How's
no
that
because
working for you?
let's unpack it. This
Yeah,
means to
let's unpack
me
that.
there's something that needs to be eaten, right?
Yeah, there's a cost that needs to be
Okay,
eaten.
now there's how many players involved in this?
We're
There's
gonna say
the
three. We're gonna say
exporter.
the exporter, the importer, the customer.
Okay, so this additional cost was created by Trump, or your dear leader. He said this is his additional cost, and he's telling China to eat it. But then
Yes.
China says, "Nah, we're not going to eat it." So then he tells,
Who said China said no?
well, why is he telling Walmart to eat it?
Because
So that
Walmart is
eliminates
using the tariff
China.
as an excuse to raise prices. That's why we had Callahan
Wait, wait,
tools
wait, wait, wait,
pulled out
wait.
because they're a domestically produced product getting their prices
Well,
raised.
okay, well, I'll say it this way. He wasn't telling China to eat it. He told Walmart to eat it. So this, by deductive reasoning, we can conclude that obviously China's not going to eat it. And obviously the customer's not going to eat it. So the only person left at the table would be China. I mean, Walmart.
Who said that eating it is literally just absorbing the cost of eating it? If he told China and Walmart to eat it in the message you just read, sir,
So brother, the
you
cost
just read
has
it
to pass
Wait,
on.
you
verbatim.
didn't, yeah,
Brother,
you're
I'm
the
not,
calling
you're
you
cost
Big
has
not.
to be
Zeus. How
passed on
about
to
that, Big
someone.
Zeus?
Hold on, brother. The cost has to be
Brother
passed
Sharp.
on
This
to.
brother Sharp, but he got a silver tongue. He's
No,
lying.
he's not sharp. He's not sharp. He just learned.
Well, he did
He
say
just learned
something
how
you
to.
would never say, though. I'll give him that, and that
Yeah.
might get him a little further. But unfortunately, it's not going to allow him to escape judgment. And what before you get into it, what you're saying, Nutty, I'll just say this, Bretta. You know what he meant when he told Walmart to eat the cost. That meant there is a cost, and he's not. He doesn't want it to be passed on to
No,
the
there is a
customers, and
cost.
China's not paying it, huh?
No, there is a cost. We see that there are a lot of commodity is subject to the subheading of 25. Some are subject to 10%. But what we're telling you is that it doesn't get passed on to the consumer. Now, I want to ask you, there's been 4
Well,
months of
Nutty
the
was about to go. Remember, I cut him off.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, Nutty.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So just very quickly. So yesterday, Zeus.
Hmm.
Yesterday I had two estimates come out to my home because I need to pour a new driveway. I need to pour a new driveway. So the mid estimate that I received was $42,000. And I looked at the guy upside his head, like,
Mm,
are you stuck on stupid? And he looked at me straight up and said, 5 years ago, this would have cost you half the price.
mm.
And I'm like, well, it needs to be 5 years ago, because even at $20,000, that's still a lot of money
Yeah,
just to pour a driveway.
yeah.
Now I don't know what
Sir,
tariffs are on concrete, but prices are going up on everything because of these tariffs.
well, we
So
see inflationary pressures
because
come from more.
I'm not an expert in this field, I would like to, if I may, request Val to come up.
Oh, Well, see, when you ask so kindly,
because I believe in staying in my lane. My lane is the Constitution.
and so Bretta,
Val,
this and and,
Val
and
is next
and
for
and and
him.
what I'll say is this, Bretta. I don't want you to say that we're dogpiling on you, so because that'll just really just grind my gears. Because you didn't say that when Trump and J.D. Vance and his cabinet dogpiled on Zelensky, did you?
Wouldn't consider it dogpiling unless y'all start insulting me personally, like you did on another live. Oh, you're uneducated, you're stupid. I'm not
Oh,
going to discuss. That's corny. But
okay, okay.
if you're talking politics, and
Oh,
you allow me to speak, I can go 5v1. That's actually where I'm home.
well, it's okay. He said he's in his bag. Okay, well, this is great. So we're gonna say this. We don't need to do any insulting, but could you at least concede when points are being made? Because the frustrating thing here is when we start connecting dots and we're showing you like 1 + 1 = 2. That's non-debatable. If we start having to debate things that are common sense, then I'm going to be honest. It's going to get real ugly on here, and I'm not. I'm going to still keep it clean, but I gotta attack the demon. So I'm
Uh,
going to try to be on my best behavior.
Hey, Zeus,
yo,
Hi,
before we
Val.
turn the floor over to Val,
Hmm.
well,
Bretta,
I got something to say before we go.
Bretta, did you vote?
Yes, I did vote. Yes, I
You
did
did.
vote.
You did
Guys, you
vote.
got to stop believing things that I say to y'all
Bre-
100%. There's no Waffle House in New York. I was trolling y'all. I made it past the eighth grade. I'm not getting evicted. I just
Bretta,
say things to
Bretta,
like
time
rile
out.
y'all
Stop
up because y'all
crashing.
believe anything.
Bretta, stop crashing. Hold on. I asked
Oh,
you. I asked you if you voted because I
Yeah,
wanted to
because
hear
that's
from the
something
horse.
that I said before that
Bretta,
I didn't vote to
Bretta,
troll.
hold
I also
on.
said that I got my papers 2 years ago.
Bretta,
This is stuff
I
that I
w-
just
oh
say.
my God, can you hold on? Let me finish. I wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth. That's why I asked you instead of accusing you of not
I can
doing it.
appreciate that. I can appreciate that.
That's
Bretta,
all I
I can
was trying to
appreciate
Bretta,
say.
that. But
Bretta. But now, sorry, Val, but this is alarming. You came onto my show months ago, and you got sympathy from people who felt bad for you working at the Waffle
sympathy,
House. Not from the Democrats, but yours, your kind.
they all know that I don't work at the Waffle House, bro. Y'all the only ones
There's
that believed
people.
it.
There were people who that was their first time hearing this. So let's just stop this. Leave all the jokes to Big Zeus. All right, because what you did right there, and now I have to question: is he joking or not, bro? This is wild stuff.
It
You're,
showed that you are uncultured to believe that there's a Waffle House in New York City. That was the point of saying that. If you don't know that there's
okay.
no Waffle House in New York
So,
City, it highlights your uncultured.
oh, okay. It doesn't highlight you're a liar.
No, not at all.
Oh,
Because if I
okay.
tell you
I
that
listen, bro. That's demonic work at its finest. Because imagine I played that game with you all day long right now. I'm gonna test how uncultured Bretta is by naming restaurants that I know he probably doesn't know about because he ain't from the town.
the
You
Waffle
now,
House,
I could name a thing out here that I would say you wouldn't have any clue whether or not I'm telling you the
impossible. I've
truth.
been all over this nation, all
Okay,
over this
okay.
nation.
So you know about, let's say, Tula Gears. Where is that at out here? You don't
Nah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah, I've
no.
been all over the nation.
But
You
the
don't
Waffle
know,
House, Tula
bro.
Cheers is a one. It's not a chain of the
Oh,
caliber of Waffle House.
okay. So listen to what I'm saying to you, brother. That's a terrible thing to do to people, is to try to test their knowledge about what dungeon you live in and use that as some sort of gotcha moment, bro. I take people at their word because I'll be honest with you. I don't know what you do. But when you get on people's platforms and you start saying stuff just to be funny, oh, I got over on
Well, you
Zeus.
guys were
You
insulting me. I had to mock you. What
Okay,
if you
fair
want me
enough.
to
Let's move
flash
on. Let's
out?
move on. Let's move on. But you don't need to do that. Just let your intelligence speak for itself, brother. That's
No
all I wanted to
problem.
do.
But I
Val,
reduced myself to highlight a shortcoming on your end because you
okay.
guys are ridiculous. You guys were insulting me. Do you not remember that live? You had 6 people calling me uneducated, stupid, weird looking. They didn't want to engage with me because I was inferior. Many of them.
Okay.
And they're penalizing me for mocking y'all instead of insulting y'all.
Welcome to social media.
Every
Okay.
dog will holler.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You got me, brother. If I'll say this, if I've offended thee, it most likely was for a good reason. W Zeus. But I'll try not to do it.
Let's get back on track. Now, my question was, when you guys say they front loaded, are you telling me that they had a supply they were charging a certain price for and they were waiting to get that to that more expensive supply to raise the prices? Is that how economics works? Is that how business works?
I'll let Val talk about
Let,
this.
let's go backwards a second.
No, no, no. I need that question answered.
No.
I could answer it.
No,
Please, Zeus,
first
if you
off,
could answer it.
we're gonna go back to we're gonna go back to Walmart. Sir,
Oh,
what is a sir? What is a grocery store chain average profit?
Sir,
No,
we're
no.
we're
Answer the
not we're
question.
not
What is
gonna
a
play
grocery
this
store
game with the
chain's
leading
average profit?
questions.
And do you
I
understand what a
don't know the
commodity is?
average of every single
Do you
nationwide chain.
understand what a commodity is?
but Bretta, in all fairness, bro, we don't want to get to the insulting. I think if we're gonna ask questions, because I'll be honest, there's questions Val says and think I honestly don't know. If we don't know, for the sake of keeping the conversation on the up and up, we have to say I don't know.
Listen, this is funny how you're cherry picking now Walmart, and I'm asking you, where's the
Oh, let's pick
inflation?
one. Pick Kroger.
Hold
Pick.
on.
It doesn't matter.
Listen,
It
where
doesn't
is the
matter.
inflation
It
that
doesn't
you
matter.
guys, please, Zeus?
Okay,
No, I asked a question. You're trying to pivot. We're not
how
trying
about
I'm
we
to
not
go
trying
do
to
going
this?
pivot.
How about
backwards.
we
Your
do it this
question is
way?
a
You
pivot
answer
because it's
Val's
obvious.
question and then he'll answer yours.
I
That's
literally
fair.
said I don't know what is the
Okay, well,
average of every nationwide chain's profit.
Average profit margin for a grocery store is 1 to 3%. That means for every $100, they make about $1 to $3 on that customer coming through the line.
I
The
understand.
reason that is because it is a commodity. Commodities markets work in large numbers, not
Right.
in single profits. Okay, so when you add 5, 6, 10, 20, 30% to a commodity, the store can't eat it.
Okay.
Businesses are not going to eat 5, 10, 15, 20, 30%. They're not going to do it.
That's why I also advocated, if you heard me, say that China can lower their price to accommodate for
Why
the
would China?
Chinese.
China's selling a commodity too, which
Yeah,
means they're selling it at a low profit margin as well.
they are
No, sir, you're
an
trying to make
authoritarian
assumptions on a
nation.
market
Please,
you do
this
not
is a
understand.
conversation, bro. This is a
You are
conversation.
trying to make assumptions on a
No,
market you do
hold
not
on.
how
understand.
about this? How about this? Because I like it when the conversation is like tennis. You know, it goes back and forth. But before I get any further, did you say there's no waffle chains in New York? What was your statement?
There's no Waffle House. There's no Waffle House in New York City, bro.
All right, I'll be back.
All right, except for the one on Flushing in Queens.
Well, and there's one in Brooklyn.
That would be
Okay.
last
And
time I
the one in
checked.
Brooklyn.
That's New
The one in
York.
Brooklyn. Yes. Okay.
That
So
last time I
so
checked,
time
that's
out,
New York.
time out, and again, I got it pulled up right here. But I wanted him to commit, you know, because in basketball, when they commit like that, you can take advantage and just go ahead and expose the fact they don't know what they're doing. Brother, you need to knock it off. You need to knock
Bro,
it off.
there are no
You
Waffle
need
House.
to. You
There are
need
no
to.
Waffle House chains in New
Listen,
York City.
I'm not even questioning that or even going to do
Okay,
anymore.
right.
You just need to
Is there a
stop.
breakfast spot called the Waffle House? Maybe.
You have to. You have to stop lying.
All right, man. It was a mockery. It wasn't like I was lying to deceive you. I was lying to mock y'all, man. It wasn't
So,
supposed
so,
to
so
come
you know
off.
that's that's
Hold on, because I
kind of
want Val to
handy.
finish.
That's kind of
Can we
handy that
get
every
back to
time you
this
make a
conversation?
misstatement,
Listen,
it's
can
kind
we
of
get
handy
back to
every
the
time you make a
conversation? It wasn't,
misstatement
but
that
I'll
it's
say
a
this.
mockery
Oh my
or you're
gosh,
trying
Val,
to
please
deceive
stop.
somebody.
Val, please.
But Bretta, here's what's
Listen,
going on.
it
You're
wasn't
opening
supposed to
so
be
many
Zeus.
boxes. You're opening so many cans of worm at
Zeus.
once.
No, Zeus, it wasn't supposed to be a believable lie. That's the problem. You were supposed to call me out in a moment. That was the point. And then when I saw you believed it, I said, oh my God, these people never been to the town.
Okay. So what? I mean, and let me
You
say
were
something.
supposed to call me out at the spot. And then it went on for months.
No, 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 no.
That's the point.
Because
That's what's kind of weird, bro.
you don't think it's weird that you go around making up stories. Got it.
No,
We're just two different breeds of
you say
creatures.
something
No,
and
no, no.
I
We're
run with it, bro.
we're two different breeds, all right? And you do
Different
what you
breeds,
do.
right.
Stick to doing what you're doing. Please continue, Val.
All right. If I can respond to Val,
Go ahead.
you understand that if I'm buying a shirt I gotta lower it down and explain it to y'all in the most simplest terms, right? If I'm buying a shirt from you, right, to sell to other people, and the other people, the consumer doesn't buy the shirt from me, then there's no need for me to re-up on a new supply. That's where you lose business. I don't understand why we're talking in hypotheticals
I
when
don't think
China
that
is
answered my
actually
question
going
at all.
through.
I didn't give you
Hold
a
on.
hypothetical.
Listen, I don't understand.
I actually gave you the commodities market direct number on what chains make on a commodity. So when we talk about commodities, which is what you are doing, okay, we've got to understand the profit margins that are involved. And if cost goes up just 5%, they are now underwater if they try to sell it for the same price. That's the reality.
I don't understand why we're having this hypothetical debate.
Because you're up here trying to say
Zeus,
that you're good
am I
because
allowed
you
to
said,
respond in
because
good
you
faith?
tried to bring
It's
up the
supposed to be
fact
ping
that
pong.
Trump told
It's supposed to be
Walmart to
tennis.
lower their
Hold
prices.
on, hold on. So what are you saying, Bretta? What is your? Because do you understand why we are here?
We don't have to speak in hypotheticals.
That's not a hypothetical, sir.
Holy shit. We don't need to speak in hypotheticals. We actually see civil unrest in China, manufacturers shutting down, and unpaid wages in that nation in response.
Sir, I actually haven't seen any of that reported.
I'll put it on the screen then. I guess I'll turn my camera on and show you that China is actually going through turmoil in response to the tariffs, like actual civil unrest. Not people bickering on TikTok about if this percentage gets imposed and it's underwater because the margins of this percentage,
Okay.
they're actually having tangible.
But here's the
difficulty.
thing.
And I'm going to put it on the screen, man.
Bretta, here's the thing. And I know that Trump is trying to isolate China because China is doing a number when it comes to how they're getting other countries. You know, they go to their ports and then they get them into debt and then they set up shop over there. I totally get that. What I'm talking to you about and what Val is talking to you about is the harm this is causing on everyday Americans.
But where is
why do I have to take a hit?
Okay.
Because
That's my question.
Because this guy is using powers he shouldn't be using to jack up the cost on everyday Americans. The tariffs are like an additional tax, bro.
That's what I'm telling you.
And it didn't even go through Congress. And if this is his little, I'm going to get China plan, sir, you got to figure out a different way.
If Walmart, it's a free market. If Walmart wants to raise their prices, they can do that. Ultimately, the market, the invisible hand of the free market is going to take effect, and people, right, instead of going to an all-in-one shop, the culture they would shift the culture. Instead of going to an all-in-one spot to get everything, no one's going to get more expensive. People will start going to these one stores that sell a specific commodity instead of going to Walmart for, the tools, the bath towels, and the food. They'll go to 3 separate stores because it'll be cheaper than in Walmart.
So the gas it takes to go to 3 stores. Now my gas bill is going up.
No, but that tariffs are not affecting the gas. Gas is actually getting lower. Understand that everybody's allowed to do what they want. Sure. Walmart.
I got to put miles on my car to do that. If I got to go to 3 stores, I'm putting miles. I'm wear and tearing on my vehicle. There's a cost to all of this that you're not keeping in mind, bro. Time is money. That takes more time.
It's not affecting the person on every day as paying with a debit card is. Please understand, we're going from the macro to the micro, so it sounds all over the place. You have to. What are you laughing about? You gotta understand. Because you cannot raise prices and expect not to be affected by that. You must understand the leverage that Walmart has on exporters and the.
Well, let us know when we can respond to you. Let us know when we can respond.
Listen, I don't have to be hypothetical because we see that us affecting the business on the other side is really damaging them because they have civil unrest, unpaid wages, and manufacturing places shutting down.
And how long has that been going on, sir?
No problem. Let me put it on the screen.
No, that wasn't his question.
No. How long has that been going down?
For like, I don't know. I read about it like a month and a half ago.
Actually started in 2023, sir.
Yo, this guy's a fucking liar.
Wait. Now, you don't got to start doing all that cursing, bro.
I thought you were the one that said we weren't going to call people names.
Let me remember where I am.
these are your rules, but we play better at them than you do, and you're realizing that you're in a nasty situation. I would, if you got something you want to show us, go ahead, but I
Yeah, I
wouldn't do it
will.
if I were you. Because everything you threw out, I was catching it, and like you said, I probably should have called you out. But I'm sitting here going, "Oh, he doesn't want to really commit to that, does he?" But go ahead.
Yeah,
I
the
mean, because
civil unrest in China has been going on since 2023. It actually even talks about it quite a bit in Hong Kong. Ever since the Hong Kong deal went down, they're asking for better pay. They're asking to get paid from vendors that haven't paid them. That's kind of
oh,
interesting.
hmm,
And they're asking, and you know what I'm saying, and they're asking for better social, you know what I'm saying, social dynamics. Those protests have been going on since 2023. They're nothing new.
yeah.
Yeah.
And have they?
Show me
Wait,
where manufacturers have.
Bretta. Can I ask you this? Since he's done the tariffs, has it fixed the issue in China?
Has it fixed the
Yeah, the one
issue in China?
that you were bringing up. Did it fix it when he did the tariffs?
Yeah, uh I don't know. I haven't kept up with them. I don't care about China. Hold up.
Hear about China. That's
Hold
funny.
on. This is India reporting on it.
Yeah, the
India.
Times of India. I've read that story.
Yeah, yeah. This is them telling you Donald Trump's tariffs hit where it hurts. Unrest and mass
Yeah,
protests erupt
Times of
in
India.
China's
Yeah.
factories
Uh-huh.
because though they may have their
Now, sir. Now
authoritarian.
that they wrote that story,
Hold on,
who
I'll let
is
you speak.
working
They
when
have
India? See,
hold
I
on.
don't trust the Times of India. First off, that's not a source.
Oh,
So
right.
we can't, we
Okay, but
can't, we
second
can't
off,
use that. Then,
yeah.
Bretta.
So the second portion
Wow.
is which country is now working with China to get more product from China? What country is the biggest pushing force?
I know you know this, Bretta. I know you know it.
Okay, do you trust the Post?
Bretta don't want none. Hey, can you come back to to reality a little bit? I just need a little bit
What did he
more.
say? What did he say? I put my phone down and looking for a source.
I said, what country is actually pushing the hardest to work with China right now?
What country is actually working to? I don't know.
That
Hong
would
Kong,
be India.
India. Yeah, okay. So what? India is one of those nations that needs to get
So
tariffed
you want to
just as
show me a
heavy.
story that tries to propagate what the U.S. is doing to China while India is working with China
At the end of the
to
day,
try to get their deal, and you want me to
but
trust that news?
So, Bretta, come on now.
What deal can replace America as a consumer to China? What are you talking about?
So you're believing what Trump
No, no, no.
says
Can you answer
when
that
Trump
question?
says that we're
What
the biggest
deal?
customer.
Yeah. What?
That's what you're going off of.
Listen.
You
What deal?
you're
No.
of the
What
belief.
deal?
No, don't get me
Val.
wrong.
What
Don't get me
deal?
wrong. I understand America has the most buying power of any
Oh,
country
okay.
in the
So
world.
we agree
But
with
hold
you on
on,
that.
hold
No,
on,
because
sir,
you can't disagree with the
sir.
truth. You
That
can't replace
ends.
America.
That ends if China ends up cutting direct deals like they're doing right now with Mexico, Canada, India, the UK. Okay, that ends.
So they need you're trying to say that they're gonna try to make deals with three nations for them to buy
It's
more
actually
from
about
them.
it's actually about 10 or 11 nations now.
10 or 11 nations to replace the one consumer of America, and you think this is gonna go fine with an
As long as they make their
authoritarian?
money, they don't
Hey, let
care.
me
Because
finish, man.
believe it or
Let me
not, even in
finish. I
the end
didn't
of all
even what
this, even in
this
the
guy
end of
is
all this, US is
absolutely
still going
immature.
to have to buy Chinese goods.
You're running all over the place, and you
No,
can
US
tell
is
you're
still going to
scrambling
have to
for
buy
an answer.
Chinese goods in the end.
10, 11 nations to try to replace one nation and their
No,
consumer
they'll
is
actually
at
end
the
up
end of
growing in the end of
yo.
this, sir.
All right.
This will actually end up benefiting China, what's happening right now.
China has been abusing World Trade Organization regulations, and they've been doing things to abuse many ports.
What
And what I'm
abuses?
telling
What
you is, how are
abuses?
you
What
gonna
regulations?
oh my God, yo.
You're making these claims, but you're not putting
But
forth any. You're not putting
I don't
forth any
understand why you're
cases,
not
or
letting me finish,
has
bro.
the
You
Okay,
U.S. filed
nervous.
any
okay,
cases
okay.
against
So,
China?
let me make sure. Let's get us back on track. Where have we concluded so far, Bretta, based on this
No, but no,
conversation? What have you?
I want to respond to what he's saying.
But I don't want people just up here reading headlines
I'm
without
not. I
because
wasn't even. That was just.
I but because we want to connect the dots. It's very important. And the main thing that I want to make sure we're focusing on is what you're saying helping us here in America.
We can never be hurt by it. What I'm telling you is, yes, it does help America on a macro level from our having our ports abuse, and on the domestic markets, we won't get flooded with low quality stuff that is actually helping a nation that has our worst interests. What you got to understand is that you can't replace America as a consumer. It takes a 10, 11 nations because we buy stuff that the rest of the
All
world
right.
does not buy.
How long would it take the manufacturing jobs to come to the United States then?
We see Mazda Toyota bring 4,000 jobs to Alabama. They announced it in
You didn't answer
2018
my
by
question.
2021. 3 years. 3 years. And I'm giving you the example.
That's the
So
wrong answer.
how is it
10, there it is, over 10 years.
over how what takes over
10
10
to
years?
20 to bring
How
those
would it take over
manufacturing
10?
like for instance Apple, if they were to bring Apple back to the United States and then they started manufacturing those iPhones here, they would have to open up a bunch of factories and
Where'd you
stuff
get
like
this
that.
10-year number from? Because you cut me off responding to Val to say
Oh, okay, you don't believe, so you just want me to let you have it because I know you say
I'm
things
giving
just
you
to
an
try to.
actual example and you just threw out a numbers.
Well, it's because I've looked into this before,
Well,
and so
then
I don't got time
quantify
to, huh?
verify it. Give me an example. I've looked into it before.
No, because
BMW in 1992 only took 2.5 years. Volkswagen in 2008. All of these car companies that set up assembly lines. I looked into.
and how much
I
would
looked
the
into
iPhones cost if we built them here?
the
Since you've looked
iPhones may
into,
be a little bit more expensive.
give us a
Yeah,
number.
give us a number. You know, they'll tack on an extra, $200, $250.
Oh my God.
Yo, don't have a
No,
seizure now.
because when Apple actually when Apple actually reviewed what it would cost to actually make this, they actually came out with the number. So it was actually 1.5 times more than it costs now. So it would actually be,
At the end of the
your
day,
$200
it's a
is
luxury,
actually
man.
$1,500.
Yeah, and
Okay, so they've already reviewed this, and it's also why Apple has said no.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
It's also
there
why
are things
Boeing
that I do
said
admit would be
no.
inflationary. I do say that the auto sector is inflationary. That's something that we probably won't be able to avoid. That's why they were pushed back to April 2nd.
So
But
that means you understand Trump is a taco
no,
because you know what taco means, right?
Trump always crushes opposition.
No. It means Trump always chickens out. But I guess if you're in the
Oh, I never
cult,
heard that. I never heard
I
that.
guess if you're in the cult, you'll take that as the answer. W Zeus, because we just cooked Bretta again. Because we know
Zeus,
you
Zeus, can I
just
say?
yes, Nutty.
Yo, this
So,
guy, bro.
I'm a little slow. I'm a little slow today.
Yeah.
Is this our Waffle House genius? I didn't realize he and Bretta were one in the same.
Mm.
Wow.
Wow. So you're our Waffle House genius.
Mm. You didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Mm.
So that was the whole joke. I was joking.
You didn't know that? That joke came from this live, by the way.
You didn't.
But it wasn't a
No,
joke because you came back on subsequent lives several times saying the same thing. So a joke is ha ha, I
no,
got you.
well, if I join a live and they'd be like, "Oh, it's the Waffle House employee. He's in New York working at Waffle House," I'm gonna lean into the joke because you're a fool.
Okay, and you know
What
what the
for?
good? So that's the low blow right there. That's a strike for you, brother. All right. So that because you shouldn't have said that. But number
I didn't
two,
curse.
yeah, but you used the name calling. Remember, these were your rules, and you keep breaking them. And this is why we're good at what we're doing.
Wait, no,
So
I
So
just
so
said.
from what I can see,
Wow.
from what I see, he said that he was most comfortable with when it's 5-1, but he couldn't even handle Val one-on-one because I went on mute and didn't say anything for minutes.
Bro was just over talking with me.
No,
yeah,
you're triggering from Val.
yeah. W Val in the chat because I mean he did a number. So Bretta, here's the thing. I don't. At the end of the day, this conversation, I'm left to conclude a couple of things. I don't know when you're lying or telling the truth or joking. I honestly don't know. I mean, second thing is I don't accept your answers in terms of like when I ask you questions about how it's going to help everyday Americans when Trump does these blanket tariffs. He pulls numbers out of thin air, and your explanations. We went all the way to China and India, but I still don't have a clear answer on how this helps us for him to
All
do
right.
this to us and place an additional tax on us. And this all started because Trump made it clear who needs to eat it. It was Walmart, an American business. They need to eat the cost, not China, not the consumer. So the only person left is Walmart. And so I just go, so we have a president that can just basically say to any company he thinks of, eat the cost. How is that less government? Your entire thesis, if you could ever imagine you doing one, but your entire argument, it's crumbling on itself. And what we're doing is we're an audience to it, and we're saying, at one point, will he stop?
And that's why I originally came up, Zeus, is because what you're really asking by telling Walmart to do that is to take a 1 to 3% profit and make it anywhere between 10 and 30%
In the quote,
loss.
he says, in
Boom,
the
boom,
quote,
and Val, and this is the thing, Beretta, are you a shareholder of any company?
um, I am. I'm not invested in Walmart though.
Okay, could you imagine the reports come out and you're thinking you're going to get more money and they come in and they tell you, "Oh, we're not making any money. You're losing." How would you feel as a person holding a stock in those companies? Would you be happy? Would that be good news?
No, that wouldn't be good news.
Thank
We're
you.
selling,
And so we understand numbers, right? The numbers
yeah,
aren't looking good for people
but
who
in the
own
quote,
stock
he
in these
said,
companies. Listen to what I'm saying.
I'm
The
listening.
numbers aren't looking good if you own stock in these companies and you see the value of the companies going down. All this huffing and puffing doesn't add up to bread in the basket, bro. And this is why we had to have these tough conversations with you.
Look,
Okay, you're saving China. You care about their rights and everything over there in China. Meanwhile, the rights here in the United States are deteriorating. So it's not like you really care about rights. If you cared about money and making a profit, you would actually have to sit back and go back to your people and say, "We're not making any money. We're losing," and that's not a good
Hey,
thing for any business.
No,
hey,
it's
Zeus,
not.
I
I
have a
mean,
question for
you got to
Val.
remember up until this year, Walmart and Target were stable stock platforms up until this year.
And that's the
Val,
bottom line, Bretta. If your company's losing money, sorry, Nutty, you could go. Go, Nutty.
so I have a question for Val.
Mm.
So Val, did I hear him say that did I this is how I interpret it. So if I'm wrong, tell me. When you were talking about China, did he not say, "Oh, China has to go and get 11 other countries to take it to
Yes.
replace one country?" But in the same sentence, he then went and said, "Well, the American people can go shop around at different stores because it'll be cheaper." Did I hear that
yeah,
correctly, Val?
yeah,
I
but you
didn't
gotta
actually.
understand
No,
this.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't actually hear him say that, but that would be wild.
Look, you gotta understand. There's a big difference.
Bretta, is
There's
that
a
what you said?
Yeah, that's
Because
what
I
I
heard you
said.
say, I heard you say
I
that
let you speak. Don't you
the
don't have to
consumer
repeat
can
it,
go to
Antifa.
different. Hold on, Bretta. I heard you say the consumer can go to different stores because it might be cheaper at other stores, so they can go shop around. You
I
said
said
that,
that.
Bretta, did you not?
I said that, but you got to understand there are things that
So
Americans.
Val, there you go. You heard him say he said that. Could you elaborate on that, Val?
Well, you can't.
Am I?
Where are we going to get them cheaper
He
from?
was talking to Val, Bretta. Remember,
Yeah, where are
Yeah,
we
but
going to
I
get
just
them
let
cheaper
y'all.
from?
All right,
I'll
listen.
let you respond after this, but I wanted
Yeah,
to hear what Nutty was, because he did an alley oop to Val, and I need to see the dunk.
yeah. I
It
mean,
was it,
where do we get them from? That would be the question, right?
I'm
Where
writing.
do
I'm
these
writing a
products come
rap
from?
diss song against you, Zeus. I'm gonna release it.
It's
well,
not going to go anywhere.
It's gonna be hot fire.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
well, my whole point is he pitched a fit about the United States being replaced by 11 other countries, that China's going to go to 11 other countries just to replace the United States. But yet he's telling the American consumer, "Oh, that's fine. Just go to several stores and shop
11 other
around.
stores. Just go to 11 other
Just go shop
stores.
around at other stores. It may be cheaper."
Am,
Well,
Like,
am I? Can I respond now? Is that all
yeah.
right? All right. Well, America is the biggest consumer of these other nations, and we buy things over here that the rest of the nations don't really buy. They don't really buy bejeweled steering wheel covers like they do over here. There's full manufacturers and companies dedicated to making stuff that only Americans purchase. All right, Taylor Swift ashtrays with Taylor Swift's
Oh,
face on it.
Brother,
Okay,
stop. I'm gonna
Oh
need
my
you to
God.
stop. I'm gonna need you to just
and
stop.
that is a completely
Do
different.
you
That's
think? Do you
completely.
think the American public
But I didn't
cares
finish.
that much about that? I
You
mean,
brought
what you're
Taylor
talking
Swift
about.
up. You were
What you're
finished.
talking about. What you're talking about is a.
Where'd you
I
go,
didn't mute
Val?
him. I didn't mute
Sorry,
him with my mod powers.
but what you're talking about is products that maybe 1% of consumers actually purchase.
Wow.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of things that we own, lightsabers. There's a bunch of things we
Bretta,
only buy
Bretta,
that only has like a
Bretta.
subculture in another country, and there are manufacturers dedicated.
Sir, you are talking about what's called luxury items. Okay, luxury items is a different market. When you came up to this to talk about Walmart, one thing you need to understand about Walmart, sir, is Walmart is basically in 99% of its stores not luxury products.
Yeah, most of the
These are
most
these are
guys.
commodities. These are things people have to have to live
W
day by
W
day.
Val W Val. So Bretta.
Bro's been railroading the conversation the entire time, made no substantial claim.
Well, it's been a combined effort. One, Nutty pointed out something, so it's okay for you want to see China go to 11 countries to replace the United States, but Americans and you want Americans to do what China does and go to 11 other stores instead of just going to one country. So that shows your hypocrisy. Number one.
That
Number
doesn't
two,
show because that's different types of business.
of course, you'll
Actually,
rationalize.
I just looked up his bejeweled steering wheel cover, and the largest country in the product of that sell is actually Mexico.
Oh, W Val again. Okay,
I
so
literally
what I'm
just
going to
threw
do.
a random example, bro. Doesn't mean that a specifically bejeweled. I just
So Bretta, we've caught you in lie after lie.
you didn't.
It's really at a point, bro, where if you're
Wow.
joking, you should just stick to doing stand up.
You guys are straw manning because at the end of the day, we're about like 13-14% their highest importers.
How many of y'all think Bretta should be
You
a
know that.
comedian? How many of y'all out there think Bretta should stick to comedy and stay out of politics? I just want to make sure.
Unfortunately, he would fail at that too.
Okay, all right, Bretta, listen, bro. You know, you lied more than 3 times on the show, and no one called your name. I don't get why you did that. We
Yo, you
talked
don't
money.
remember that live, bro? We've done this like
No,
4
no,
times already. You
I
don't
get
remember
it.
that live?
They said you should stick to comedy. If someone said neither, I remember the live very vividly. All right, and
We
again,
had
there
like
were
6 people calling me an uneducated scum, slime, not worthy of discussing anything with, and I'm just like, yo, can we get back to the harmonized tariff schedule? I
okay.
didn't say
And
not
you
one
actually
thing
taught me
against that.
something that time too. Remember, because I went and came back to your live, and so that's what I want to do is make sure we all stay positive and we're being, uplifting in the terms of getting the truth out there. And that's what this platform is really all about. I believe Nutty has been as truthful as he could. I believe Val has been as truthful as he could. But
No, you guys were being disingenuous and railroading the conversation. I wasn't allowed to respond at all.
I don't believe you're being as truthful as you could be. And I don't get why. We talked money and we agreed that if you own stock in these companies and the report showed that you're losing money as a result of these tariffs, that's not a good thing. Am I right? And that's par for the course what a lot of these businesses that are out here are saying, whether they're small businesses or big companies like Walmart. It's a
No,
sad day in America. Well, why would Walmart even have to let their customers know that? You know what I mean? Obviously, this isn't a good thing for business. This isn't a good thing for us in America.
liberal owners, these globalists that are mad that Trump is taking their hands out of American pockets, so they're weaponizing their positions against America, trying to fearmonger. That's what's going on, but that's conspiratorial.
Okay, I'll
and
give you an
doesn't-
opportunity to redeem yourself real quick because judgment is nigh. So,
What?
judgment is nigh. Okay, look that up. That's a word. You can.
No, I know.
What do you think about your dear leader telling you that the airplane was free? From Qatar, Qatar. And all jokes aside, don't
You
do.
call it Qatar for a reason, or is that deliberate, or it's
Yeah,
Qatar?
that's no, it's Qatar. All right. You don't know it. Yeah, you're not a real traveled person. I get it. But You okay? It sounds like you got some bronchitis or something going on. All right, you okay? You got the emphysema or something? I don't know what's going on.
COPD.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I didn't say anything funny. I'm asking you honestly. What do you think about your dear leader accepting a gift and telling you that it's free?
Um, when you take the jet, it was for the DoD. What are you saying? It's not free. We pay for it.
Well, he told you all it was a free gift from Qatar.
It's not free.
Okay, he's joking. So you don't have any energy for that, huh?
I'm asking you. You said you learned something from me. I can learn something from you. What's going on,
Yeah. Do you?
Problem. You keep learning from us and you don't contribute anything.
bro? What is
So
this?
so do you think it's acceptable for him to take the airplane, even if it is free? Do you think it's acceptable?
Well, I mean,
I
I
know
think
we
I
have
think the
clauses in the
larger question
Constitution
should
and
be
articles in the Constitution
Hold
that
on.
hold on, sir. The larger
Val,
question should be because really the whole gift thing's really been blown out of the water now when it came the story came out from Qatar, and Qatar explained that no, it was not a gift. It was requested by Donald J. Trump.
how do you feel about that?
In
While
fact,
he's
Qatar
he's
said,
over here telling companies like Walmart to eat it, he's
in
over
fact,
here
Qatar said
leveling up
that it wasn't just requested; he begged for it,
on
according to
his
Qatar.
knees like a dog. Bretta,
I gotta verify. I gotta verify that. That's I didn't
okay,
hear about Qatar announcing that.
okay,
Hey Zeus, that's fair. That's fair. At least he didn't say that we're lying about it. He said I have to That's fair. I can give him that
okay.
one.
What about his crypto dinner? You heard about that?
I did hear about him having a dinner with the top investors of the crypto. I don't have anything
He
against
said
that.
he did it in his private time.
Yeah, well, he does have private time, so he met with people privately. You know what I mean?
Actually, no, he doesn't. Not while he's the president of the United States.
What do you mean?
And
There is no such thing
On
as
his
private
crypto,
time.
sir. His crypto coin.
They
That's what this
literally
meeting was
also have a
about, which
private
means
life.
he was doing private business while employed as the president of the United
So,
States.
so
Which
Val,
against
This was
Val,
the
done because he
Amani.
Val,
sat down and had a dinner. I
hey
don't think
Val, I
anything.
know you know something about the Constitution as well, but doesn't
Maybe some
that go in
networking, but
direct
that's as far as it
violation?
went.
Doesn't that go in direct violation of the Emoluments Clause, which I believe is what is Article 2, Section 9 or Section 8?
Section 8. And yet, yes, yes, that goes exactly. That's exactly what the Emoluments Clause was built to prevent. And not only that,
Because
I
isn't
would ask
he
yourself,
enriching himself
yeah,
while sitting in the seat
yeah,
of the presidency?
right. I would also ask yourself about this meeting a little bit because I really want to know about the two pardons that were given the day after that meeting
mm,
and people that were
For the
involved with those
Christians.
people that were pardoned were at that meeting.
no answers. So, Bretta, you have no answers.
What are the
You,
names of
you,
these people?
no. We're done because I got to move it on. And I think we
All right.
did an outstanding job, but we got to get to
You,
judgment, Bretta.
that was terrible. You didn't do a good job. You didn't do a good job. You railroaded the conversation. You didn't let me speak. You were emotional, and Val crashed out.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen,
Wow, I didn't know I was capable of crashing.
this is what
Is
I
this
need to
that
do.
alternative universe again that MAGA lives in?
Hey, yo, my rap this song is coming again. It's coming.
Okay, and you know what else is coming? The Lake of Fire. Ladies and gentlemen, I have no choice but to drop Bretta. He got up here and he proved absolutely nothing except for he's still in the cult. No further explanation. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do? Let's send him where he belongs, straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA
W Val. W Nutty. Brain cells pretty much totally beat up while he's in the box. My brain.
Well, he represents something that that actually. I mean, this. I'll give him a little bit of credit for something. The thing is what he actually represents is what's the most dangerous to this country right
Yeah.
now. Somebody that can actually speak logically and act like they have knowledge on a subject that people will buy into and actually listen to. I mean, people know about OM, right? I mean, this is
Yep.
the exact same process. Not a word that comes out of that man's mouth is not skewed or filled with, you know what I'm saying, or filled with some sort of lie or misdirection about the story that he's talking about. But people listen because he sounds intelligent while he's saying it.
Yep.
By the way, I will be having beef tacos tonight. I will not be having chicken tacos.
Good job, Nutty.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of chicken tacos.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well,
So
listen.
before we go,
Yes.
I just have one question for both you gentlemen.
Yeah.
Didn't Donald Trump have something when he was talking about immigrants to this country? Didn't he have a problem with people who come here to the United States just to have children? Didn't he have
Yeah.
a problem with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Because Barron Trump, Donald Trump's youngest son, he was born in March of 2006. In March of 2006, Melania was not a citizen of the United States of America.
That is correct.
Melania did not become a citizen of the United States until I believe it was July of said year of 2006. So wouldn't that mean she came over here and had a baby? So since we want to deport these people, shouldn't Barron be on top of that list to get deported?
Well,
Can we send him to El Salvador too?
this is the old adage and the old argument of money will buy you anything.
But am I wrong? So because I know Barron was born in March of 2006.
See, I don't know all the ins and outs, but if that's what it is, then if
Yeah,
you were to
Barron was
use
born
Trump's,
in March of
Yeah.
2006, and Melania became a citizen in July of 2006. So if he was born in March, doesn't March come before July?
yeah, last I checked.
So that would mean she was not a citizen when she had Barron.
Right.
Now, at the end of the day, I'm just going based on Trump logic. At the end of the day, Barron was born here in the United States, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as the Constitution is concerned, he is a United States citizen. So,
Yeah.
my comment sending him to El Salvador, that was absolutely satire,
Yeah.
because obviously I don't want him to go to El Salvador. But if we're sending these people to El Salvador and they're not criminals, I just think he should be number one on the list.
Bingo, bingo. And that's what we say. This is the hypocrisy that we continue to have to expose with MAGA. W Nutty, W Val. All right, gentlemen.
All right, guys.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
All right, that was a little razzle dazzle, a little bit for the audience right there. All right, so as you all can see, ladies and gentlemen, we've totally annihilated another MAGA, or as we like to call them, Blagga. But Val is right. The reason that we flush those kind of discussions out is because, believe it or not, as much as we're so tired of it, there are a lot of people under the same influence and delusion as Bretta. And so, Bretta, I got to say, you know what? I got to give you a round of applause because you're holding on to that demon. Bretta, you're holding on to that demon even though you know it's not good. I've never seen anybody's knuckles hold on to a demon like that, but you're holding on to it, champ. But one thing we all learned was this. We're not... Whatever Donald Trump has done, according to what Bretta said, it's not helping everyday Americans. He wants us to go to instead of going to one store, he wants us to go to 11 stores, especially with the way the price of gas is. He doesn't understand that at the end of the day, this is actually going to cost us more. It's going to be more wear and tear on our vehicles if we got them right, or you're going to catch more buses and public transportation. It's going to pollute the environment if we do it his way. He also doesn't understand that, all these little things that he's doing to try to act like he's intelligent. I'm going to joke with you about this this and that. Those are just ways he's coping with the fact that his dear leader hasn't cut him the $5,000 Doge check, right? W Zeus. And and so now there's a new conspiracy from Blaga. Oh, we never expected those checks. Y'all got I mean, when it's comedy, it's comedy. Y'all know y'all were expecting the checks because when I checked in with you, not just on TikTok, but in we go into the neighborhood and you talk, oh yeah, we about to get that $5,000 Doge check, Zeus. You need to understand this is what Trump is about. That's why we got him in there. You know how y'all was talking, and now all of a sudden they go, oh no, we never thought that was going to happen. It was a joke. Trump says Walmart, eat it. What does that mean? That means we need to go ahead and look into China and ask why they're moving. No, it doesn't. It means Walmart needs to basically eat the cost. W Zeus. I've been annihilating these Trump supporters, and it's so easy. All you got to do is honestly just let them talk, and they'll destroy themselves with their own whacked out knowledge. And I don't want to get into the name calling, so I won't call Beretta any names, but I'll just say this, Beretta, you got to stop lying. All right, just stop it. And if you're going to do comedy, just take down all the Trump stuff you got on your page and just start writing jokes. And if you're going to be an artist and rap, then just start making music, but stay the hell out of politics, because you're doing the community a huge disservice when you do that kind of stuff that you're doing. All right, bottom line is this: businesses that are impacted by the tariffs, they're not living in the golden age, right? There's no real liberation for these businesses except for the liberation when those judges struck down those tariffs, right? That was the real liberation. And Beretta, I forgot to add this. When he won that appeal and, they said he could go ahead and do the tariffs, there was a clause in there. I covered it last week where they said, hey, if these tariffs are deemed illegal, guess what's going to happen? All of us will get refunds. So that's where the real money is at. All of us who are impacted by these tariffs, the money that the government supposedly collected is supposed to be redistributed back to us because those were collected illegally. And you never brought that up, Beretta. So once again, W Zeus. All right, I got to get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. This was an awesome show, even though they took down my main account, right? We came back on the backup account, and we just did a number to the MAGA demons, all right? I want to give each and every single one of you in the audience a huge round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much, especially to the subscribers, gifters, moderators, and panelists. Without you, the show wouldn't be what it is. But I also got to give one last round of, you guessed it, booze and shame. And who do these booze and shames go out to? You know exactly who. It goes out to all of these Zeus haters out there, and they know exactly who they are, reporting my platform simply because I get out here and tell the truth and call out your dear leader for what he is. A fraudster, all right, a snake oil salesman. You know what he does. We all know it. And you call me a grifter, but then you turn around and let him grift you. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. You say you love the children, but you hate the mothers. Newsflash, it's the mothers that bring the children into the world, right? So why do you hate them? You look like a bunch of demons to me. Ladies and gentlemen, let's send them to hell one last time. Thank you, Val. Thank you,
Silence, you MAGA demon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. Make sure you take care and you stay safe out there in those TikTok streets. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. All right, let's get to the music and then we are out of here. Oh my gosh. Here we go. All right, we're out of here. There we go. That was black on black crime this morning, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't mind doing black on black crime because someone has to do it. I'm going to hell for saying that, but guess what? It doesn't matter. WTF. Let's go. That was dope. You always surprise me, and you're very supportive of the platform. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Kabira. Right? W Kabira in the chat, and W all of you. Q-Dog. And you know what I do? When they come on my platform, then I like to return the favor, and I'll go over there and show them how to really do it. So, Greta, won't you, love you too. Greta, go live and let me continue to cook you, because it's one thing when I do it over here, but when I get some time, I want to go over where you're at, and I want to lay down the law the real way, the big way. And if you got some hot fire on you, go ahead, I want to hear that too. But stick to the comedy, right? Stick to the comedy. Hey, Greta, I got a new joke for you. What do you call people who continue to support Donald Trump even though he takes advantage of them? Oh, you want to know what the answer is? You call them losers, W Zeus. Easy. It's so easy to do it. Thank you, everyone. Even the haters. Zeus, stop kowtowing. Hold on. Let me get to this drill, baby, drill. Somebody said something in the chat when Zeus, stop kowtowing to an undocumented populace, Zeusy. When I start taking orders from you loser, that'll be the day, right? W Zeus, easy. I don't listen to losers.
Because she's gonna ban.
But you could do me a favor.
100%. She's against
recording me. How about that, Naga? Stop recording me.
About a year and a half ago, when she was getting killed in the
Right,
polls,
Kabira?
she said, "I like fracking very much." Look,
Naga tacos. Put a bunch of tacos out there for these crybabies if you don't mind. Maribel.
She's a radical left Marxist. She can't help it. But we're going to end that, and we will frack, and drill, baby, drill.
JTA Creations.
Drill, baby, drill. We're going to be drilling
They
so
hate tacos.
deep.
They won't even eat tacos anymore.
We're going to take out so much money. We're going to pay down our debt. We're going to lower your taxes.
Here goes.
Insane asylums. They go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal
Trippin'.
Lecter. Drill, baby, drill. We're gonna frack. Drill, there's a frack. There's a baby, there's a lots of thing of energy. Because she's gonna bang. She's gonna bang, kid. Bang. Up in there, she was against fracking, against all the stuff, and then all the stuff. And then
I know you're
all the
mad
stuff, and then
because
all the
you can't
stuff
do what I do, but that's all right. You're gonna get there one day. She said, I like fracking very much. You don't know how to drill. No, you don't. I know how to drill, but you don't. She can't help it. She's a radical.
She can't help it. And we're the and we will frack, and drill, baby, drill. We're gonna drill, baby, drill. We're gonna be drilling so deep. We're gonna be
You know, they don't know what deep is. The only thing Tiny Tank Top Tom understands about deep is being deep inside of a gallon of ice cream. Rocky Road.
Drill, baby, drill. We're gonna frack.
Drill, baby, drill. Or deep inside of a burrito. Or a taco. That's funny. Michael Clean hit it. Clean play. Here it goes.
They go crazy when I say the late great
Hannibal Lecter.
They say,
Why would he mention Hannibal Lecter? What are we gonna do?
We're gonna lower your taxes.
Oh.
Deep insane asylums.
Oh.
They go crazy when I say
The late
great
Hannibal.
Drill, baby, drill, with a frack. Drill, baby, drill, like it's Hannibal Lecter. Drill, baby, drill, we go.
Lower your taxes.
Deep insane
Asylum. Drill harder.
The late great Hannibal.
Ladies, come on now. Y'all gotta keep it clean. Don't start nothing. There won't be nothing. Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter time. We're gonna lower your taxes. deep insane asylums. You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal. How much do you owe in your house? Oh, Tiny Take Top 10 Tom, he can't afford that. Tano, he can't afford that. But what we'll do is we'll take care of that, right? We're gonna pay off all your debt, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna lower your taxes, because guess what? There's so much liquid gold underneath our feet, and all we gotta do is drill, baby, drill to get to it. And then after that, there's gonna be a little bit of fracking, if you know what I mean. Keep it clean. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care, stay safe out there in those TikTok streets. Don't do nothing I wouldn't.